The first thing to remember about drawing a human head is that a human head is shaped like an upside-down chicken egg. Try your best to draw a fairly symmetrical egg shape. It takes quite a bit of practice, and in fact this is probably the most difficult part of drawing a human head, because if you draw the egg shape incorrectly or not symmetrical, that will affect the overall layout and proportions of your human head. Once you've drawn the egg shape, get a ruler and divide that egg shape right down the middle. Draw a line right down the middle, and I'm going to measure it. This line I just drew is 22 centimeters, so halfway down, half of 22 is 11, is where I'm going to draw a second line that cuts across. Okay, so I've basically drawn two lines, one down the middle, one across. This line here is very important. That is the eye line. That is where the eyes will be placed, and a lot of people think that the eye line is naturally higher, but in reality, if you had no hair and you're able to see a person's head, you notice that the eyes are actually right along the middle of the head. Okay, there should be the same amount of space below the eyes as above the eyes. The eye line I drew earlier, I'm going to measure, and in my diagram it's 15.5 centimeters. I have to divide that line into 5 equal segments. So 15.5 divided by 5 is 3.1 centimeters. So I'm going to use my ruler and just measure out 3.1 segments, 3.1 centimeter segments. So there's one here, one here, one here, and one here. Now those segments are important because those are going to be where the eyes are going to be placed. So right here is going to be where one eye is, and then here is the second eye. The distance between the two eyes is actually the same length as one of the eyes. Take out a ruler and measure from the outside of one eye to the outside of the other. On my diagram it's about 9.3 centimeters, and we're going to be drawing an equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangles are triangles with all three sides the same length. So now that I know that one side of the triangle is 9.3, I'm going to use my ruler and measure down here, find 9.3, and right here I'm going to draw a second line that's 9.3 centimeters, and then I'll draw a third line here that's also 9.3 centimeters, and I've basically made an equilateral triangle, one side, second side, third side. The reason we made this equilateral triangle is because this point here marks where the lips will be. And what I'm also going to do is, from this point, I'm going to sketch in an arc right here. And then I'll do another one on this side. This will be where the cheekbones are going to be. Okay. Okay, you'll notice I'm doing it lightly in pencil because I'll end up erasing a lot of these lines. They're just guidelines. After I've drawn this arc, now I can put in the lips. The bottom of the arc will form the lower lip, and I just have to sketch in the upper lip. Now, this isn't final. I'm just sketching in where the lips will be placed. I can later on decide to make them bigger or smaller. But now that I have a lip, I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm going to measure from the top of the lip back to the eye line. On my diagram, it's 7 centimeters. Okay, and we're going to divide this line, this 7 centimeter line, into 3 equal segments. Okay, so 7 divided by 3 will give me about 2.3. So every 2.3 centimeters, I will put a little mark. Okay, and the mark that's important is this one right here. A third of the way up from the lip is where the nose is going to be. Okay, so I'm going to make a thicker line. This one isn't important, it's just this one that's important. A third of the way up, and that's where the nose is going to be. And what I tell people to do is look at the eyes again. Remember, on our diagram, on this diagram, it's 3.1 centimeters. A nose is often about the same size or same width as the eye, sometimes a bit smaller in females, sometimes a bit bigger in males, but we're going to measure out a nose that's about 3 centimeters on this diagram. So using my ruler, I'm going to measure 3 centimeters, and this will be the width of our nose. Now that we've determined the width of the nose, I'm going to use a ruler, and in the middle of the eye line, I'm going to draw a line that passes the line that we drew for the nose, and we'll connect it to the lips. I'll draw another line here. Okay, and what this tells us is it helps us confirm that the size of the lip we drew is appropriate. Because when people have large noses, they tend to have large mouths as well. And if people have narrower noses, they'll tend to have narrower mouths as well. So the mouth and the nose are related. As one gets bigger, the other gets bigger as well. When one gets smaller, the other is smaller too. Above the eyes, I'm going to lightly pencil in where I think the eyebrows will be. I'm doing it very light because later on I'm going to add in the hairs and the detail, but for now I just need to get a general idea where they are. Now that I have the eyebrows, I'm going to figure out where the ears will go. The rule is ears have to be below the eyebrows and above the nose. Okay, so this is about where the top of the eyebrows are, and then this is where the bottom of the nose is. So I just have to make sure that the ears don't go higher or lower than these two segments. Now, people have different sized and shaped ears. For now, I'm not too concerned about it. As long as I draw something that falls within those two segments, I'll be fine. And I don't like drawing ears because I tend to make them asymmetrical, but with some practice, you should be able to just kind of sketch in ears that should be fairly equal sized. And that's all there is to planning out the layout of a human head. And bring out an eraser, and all these guidelines we drew, I'm going to erase a large number of them, because at this point we no longer need these. Okay? The whole point of this exercise so far has been to decide and figure out where the different parts are. Okay? So hopefully you didn't press too hard with your pencil, and hopefully your guidelines come off easily, like mine are. And so what you should be left with after you're done is simply just where the eyes are placed, a bit of the eyebrows. You know where the nose will be, and you also know how wide the nose will be. You know where the lips will be placed, and you know where the ears will be. And once you've got this far, the next step is just to place in all the different parts of a face. Drawing a mouth is very easy, because I always tell people to think of 2 M's and 1 W. Okay? What I mean by that is a mouth kind of appears to look like an M, another M, and a W. Now, of course, that looks too angular, but with a little bit of smoothing out, that's 1 M, that's another M, and that's a W. You can keep on practicing this until you get something that looks natural and fairly realistic. And with enough practice, you'll get pretty good at drawing a mouth. When drawing a nose, remember this tip: 5 U's. Okay, what I mean by that is a nose appears to be made up of 5 U's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 U, 2 upside down U's, and 2 sideway U's. Okay, so that is a nose made up of 5 U's. Of course, you may wish to make it more angular depending on the person you're drawing. So 1 U, 2 U's, 3 U's, 4, and 5 U's. Drawing ears are pretty difficult, but I tell students to think of Valentine's Day. When you think of Valentine's Day, you think of hearts. And if I draw half a heart here and another half a heart here, I've basically got the outline of an ear. Once you've drawn the 2 half hearts, connect them with a line, and then that forms the overall shape of an ear. When you're drawing the inside folds of an ear, you're going to have to look at an actual ear and study all the different shapes